the Santa Ynez Valley Botanic Garden would like to welcome you to our virtual Succulent Pumpkin Workshop. Joining us today are 3 great volunteers from the garden, Rochelle Witt, Derek Glass, and Pearson Turnbull. As this was filmed during COVID, we asked our wonderful creators to wear masks. We'll go over the natural materials, but for now, please gather your spray glue and your tacky glue, as well as clippers, so we can head on over to step 1, applying moss. Apply spray glue to the top, where you'll be placing the moss. Keep the moss in a circular shape as you gently pat it down so it is adhered to the pumpkin. If the moss is a little sticky, don't worry. The moss will be covered by the succulents in no time. Step 2, selecting material. Once you have the succulents in front of you, sort them into various types so that they are easier to work with as you progress. Always make sure that you have plenty of material so you have lots to work with. Large and small succulents are good to have. Step 3, thriller. People ask, why don't you cut the pumpkin and simply plant the succulents inside? Once the skin of the pumpkin is punctured, it can begin to rot. By using glue and keeping the pumpkin intact, it will last a long time. Once the moss is securely attached to the pumpkin, you can begin to place the succulents on top of the moss. For step 3, the thriller, it can be a taller element, a larger succulent, one that has big leaves or a unique texture and color. Sometimes these thrillers can be a little hard to handle and have a tendency to tip, so don't worry, just glue into place and add smaller succulents to prop up your thriller. Remember to glue the smaller ones. Our good friend and floral designer Sue Doherty has taught us that we need 3 elements in our composition: a thriller, a filler, and a spiller. So let's move on. Step 4, filler. Once you have your thriller in place, it's time for step 4. Let's add the filler. We want the pumpkin to have a feeling of abundance, so find some good rosettes and leafier succulents to surround your thriller with lots of texture. Don't forget to take your time with your glue. Make sure that each element you add is securely put in place. Our pumpkins today are monochromatic, but don't be afraid to play with different colors of succulents if that appeals to you. This is a really fun step for filling out your entire project. Every little element that you add speaks of your own creativity and can really make your pumpkin come together. And if you need to edit a little out, just use your scissors or clippers and you're on your way to the next step. Step 5, spiller. In this step, you really want to be selective with your materials. It's not so much about how many you place, but where they are placed and the shape it gives to your composition. Once the pumpkin feels like it's crowned with your thriller and your filler, you are ready to add the spillers. They are smaller, textured succulents that can drift over the top edge of the pumpkin. Or you can use different dried materials like California pepperberries. You don't need to circle the entire arrangement with spillers. Just a few well-placed ones will do the trick. Don't forget, as always, take your time. Really decide where you would like to see them on your pumpkin. And let your spillers be the extra elements that really bring your pumpkin to life. Step 6, accents. Here we can see Pearson is using wheat to add exactly the accents he wants to his pumpkin. Place them down so that they are just as secure as your other elements. With the wheat that Pearson is placing, we can see he is adding a fantastic contrast to the top of his pumpkin. You can also use elements such as acorns and lichen branches that all bring out different colors and textures. Bold shapes such as lotus pods are a great counterpoint to the softer leaves of some succulents. But most important, it's up to you, the creator. Really enjoy this step, as it can add so much flair and excitement to your arrangement as a whole. And seeing this as your final step, take your time, revel in your work, and congratulations. Now let's enjoy our succulent pumpkins. Let's take a step back and see what Rochelle, Derek, and Pearson have created. I think their pumpkins look absolutely fantastic, and we look forward to seeing yours. Now that they are complete, people often ask, how do I take care of my pumpkin? About once a week, just lightly spray the pumpkin with water. That's it. No watering can, no soaking, just a light spray to moisten the leaves. Don't worry about the roots of the succulent. Enough water travels to the base and is absorbed through the leaves to keep your succulent pumpkin happy. The succulent pumpkin can last up to a year, so celebrate the seasons and decorate for the holidays. Once spring arrives, you can cut around the edge of your succulent garden and simply plant the arrangement in a pot, ready for Mother's Day or a friend's birthday. Thank you so much for participating in the virtual Succulent Pumpkin Workshop, brought to you by the Santa Ynez Valley Botanic Garden. The garden, founded and maintained by the community, is located in Buellton, California, just north of Santa Barbara. The garden began 14 years ago on a reclaimed dump site and is now home to more than 100 trees and several hundred native plants, planted by volunteers of all ages. We encourage you to visit, recharge, connect, and be reminded of the resilience of our natural world. A special thanks to the following: Rochelle Witt, Derek Glass, and Pearson Turnbull for their beautiful demonstration. Voiceover by Shelby Arthur. Thank you to our sponsors, Jay Woosty and the Santa Ynez Valley General Store. Location provided by Tammy Posnick and Eco Mama Farms. The Santa Ynez Valley Botanic Garden. www.syvbotanicgarden.org. These succulent pumpkin instructional courses are usually given at the garden each year. And as we get through this pandemic together, we look forward to reconnecting with our community at the Santa Ynez Valley Botanic Garden. Come visit us. Produced, filmed, and edited by Gray Bear Erickson. Including original music by Gray Bear Erickson.